Mario has been the GOAT for over 40 years now.
Mamma mia!
And with GOAT status comes great responsibility. Everybody wants to collab with you, and Mario has had his fair shares of crossover. He's crossed over with Sonic, Link. He's literally crossed over foods by crossing over into Street Ball. He's crossed over with every Nintendo property and beyond if you look at the Smash Bros. Series. And he's even crossed over with himself. But the most underrated crossover of all time came with some of the most hated creatures in gaming. Ubisoft Rabbids. From the outside looking in, the Mario plus Rabbid series may just look like Nintendo said, let's take the minions of gaming and pair them up with Mario and his friends for a quick cash grab. But the weird thing is, for that to work, they didn't really pick the right video game genre that really does do gangbusters in terms of sales outside of a few legendary franchises. So to put them in a turn-based tactical adventure game sounds weird on paper, but it works so well, it might be the most underrated crossover in gaming history. So, let's take a look at the Mario plus Rabbid series. The first game was released in 2017 for the Nintendo Switch and starts off in a pretty cool, unexpected way. A Mega Mario fan, along with her robot Beepo, invent the Super Merge. It's a headset that merges two objects into one. After testing it, it overheats and the inventor steps out for a moment. While she's out, a group of rabbits show up in their time washing machine, which is obviously an item they used in the Raving Rabbids Travel in Time party game from the Wii. Fake fan, I can't believe you didn't know that. They soon start doing what rabbits do and start up. One of the rabbits puts on the headsets and just goes ham, merging his rabbit friends with other stuff in the room. Eventually, he hits the time washing machine, which causes a vortex to appear in the Mushroom Kingdom, and everything just gets sucked up. It gets scattered along the Mushroom Kingdom with more gigantic versions of items from the room. Even Beepo gets sucked up, and he gains the ability to speak, and he eventually finds Mario. They also find that the Super Merge has attached itself to the rabbit and is accidentally creating a giant mess. Some of the merged rabbits are corrupted, creating our enemies for the game, and the others were just fused with Mario items and are willing to aid us in our journey to stop Spawny's chaos and free the corrupted rabbits. We eventually encounter Bowser Jr., who gave the rabbit the nickname Spawny. And he obviously wants him to keep creating chaos because his dad's away and it's time for him to shine. Like I said, this is a turn-based tactical adventure game. More XCOM than, say, Fire Emblem, which is a very good note to give because I started playing as if it was Fire Emblem. That's the completely wrong approach because I thought it mattered who did what, thinking there was individual XP to be gained. And no, it doesn't really work like that. At the end of the battle, each team member gets the same amount of coins and orbs at the end to use that to level up, focusing more on the amount of turns that you take to complete the objective as a whole for bonuses. And the objectives can be defeat all, last a certain amount of turns, escort someone to the goal, just to name a few. Each character has their own set of squares that they can move, and you can hide behind cover and search for the best spot to attack, working pretty similar to the XCOM games, but not as exact with the percentages, so don't worry, you won't be really missing any 99% shots. It's usually 0, 50, or 100% chance of getting hit. You can also perform team jumps, which allows you to move farther along the board and reach higher ground, which some characters get benefits from taking shots up there. Also, if the enemy is near you, you can smack that ass for some extra damage with a dash combo. Later on, you'll be unlocking abilities that will allow you to do multiple smacks with certain characters, and others get cool effects added to their attacks, causing even more mayhem on the battlefield, which comes in pretty clutch, adding another wrinkle to the strategy of combat. Techniques are the unique abilities each character has that allows you to link attacks together, heal, add boost damage, just stuff like that. My favorite one was Hero Sight, which allows you to attack any character that comes within range on their turn, giving you multiple ways to strategize to maximize your turn. Even in the later levels, even some of the enemies will have a bunch of these techniques as well. You will be purchasing weapons as you go along. Some weapons come with the effects that can be put on the enemy you hit. We got Bounce, which causes the enemy to bounce. Push, that pushes them away. Vamp sucks HP from them. Honey makes them stick to the floor, not allowing them to move, but they can actually attack if they're in range. Stone makes that character lose a whole turn. Burn inflicts damage and has them running around, possibly setting other guys on fire and having them run around, so on and so forth. Ink makes it so that they can't use a weapon for the turn. And finally, Freeze, which prevents them from using a technique. You are susceptible to these effects as well, so there are boxes that splash out the effects. Some team members can wipe the effects clean by performing a team jump on them. Each team member comes with their own set of skills, techniques, and weapons. So you have Mario, of course, who is the main protagonist, who is the team leader and is always set on the team. I think we, the players, actually control Beeple if we're going to get technical with it. Either way, Mario is the all-rounder as he's always been. He does everything pretty well. He's got 2 blasters with mid-range damage and a hammer as his secondary for close-range attacks. Then you have drag queen Rabbid Peach. She is super sassy, obsessed with her phone. Her weapon is a mid-range blaster and her secondary is a sentry gun that tracks down an enemy and explodes. She also has the ability to dash multiple enemies at the same time. Chill Rabbid Luigi is considered like the most polite out of the rest of the Rabbids, and his primary weapon is a yo-yo that afflicts pretty low damage. His secondary is a rocket, and his best ability is the vamp dash, which heals a percentage of damage giving to the other guy, which comes in pretty handy. The real Luigi, he's got pretty weak defense and is the only sniper character, which is great when paired with the hero side because it covers a longer range. And he also has a sentry gun as a secondary. You have cocky Rabbid Mario. His primary is a shotgun. His secondary is also a hammer, but his ability to boom dash is great when there's a cluster of enemies together. Peach also has a boom shot, very powerful for close range, and her secondaries are grenade ducks, which are rubber ducky grenades that bounce towards the enemy and explode, and she can heal. There's derpy Rabbid Yorchi. He's wild. He's equipped with the rubble bang, which is like the Gatling gun type. He also has the grenade ducks, and he has the ability to dash up to 5 enemies in one turn. And finally, my guy Yorchi. He also has the rumble bang and has the rockets, and the ability to do a ground and pound jump, which inflicts damage to whatever he lands on. So each character has their own skill tree, and you can upgrade the abilities you like with the power orbs you either find or that you get at the end of battles. What sucks is you can't have 3 Mario characters at the same time, which I found weird and sometimes annoying. They really force you to have Rabbids on your team, and I think I ultimately ended up neglecting Drag Queen Rabbid Peach and was interchanging the rest relatively often depending on what I needed on the level. Before you start the battle, you can strategize in Battle HQ, pick your team and weapons, upgrade, and start the battle. Purchasing different weapons is essential, and it's pretty cool that the HQ is there right after each battle. You don't have to wait or go somewhere if you can afford it already. Health carries over to the next battle, but you can also recover a bit before each battle. I thought I would get penalized for recovering before a battle, like my reward would suffer or something, but no. So if you are struggling with one character's health, it's just better to swap them out. I rarely had to do that because I'm very good, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, while exploring in the world, you can find mushrooms that obviously help you with health as well. There's one thing I could change is the ability to cancel a move. So if you accidentally hit the wrong square that you didn't necessarily want to go to and the character goes over there, that's it. You can't really hit B or undo your movement. Your decision is final. So this happened to me a handful of times where I accidentally misclicked the wrong spot and ended up suffering and resulting in me completely restarting the battle. There's no permadeath, obviously, but you can't pick up down teammates, and you get penalized in your battle report if you lose a member, resulting in less rewards. But yeah, that cancel button would come in handy. It does take a few hours to completely get in the groove of the game. If you can't tell, there's a lot to it, and can sound like a lot, but you do eventually get the hang of it and figure out how to properly strategize. The game is 20 to 30 hours long, depending if you want to 100% it, and there's a ton of replayability here, because it's not just the battles. There are also semi-open areas to explore and puzzles with obstacles to solve. I don't even want to call them puzzles, if I'm honest, because of how simple they are, but you get awarded chests filled with collectibles and weapons. There are even secret chapters within the level, usually hidden behind things you can't move or use quite yet. So if you want to collect everything, you have to backtrack. On top of all that, once you complete the level, you unlock 10 more secret challenges you can complete for extra coins and orbs. And if I'm honest, some of these challenges are even more difficult than some of the story battles. I did spend extra hours completing them because they were honestly fun. I never felt like I had to. I wanted to. Plus, they would reward me with enough that it made me want to keep going because it made the story battles that much easier. The worlds do have that Mario charm, and even with the simplicity, they are still pretty fun to explore. I did want to shout out Mario's Naruto running. The music is also fantastic. It's Mario music, but they did a great job of making it feel somewhat familiar and fresh at the same time. This is thanks to Grant Kirkhope, the composer responsible for probably two of the best scores for the N64, Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong. Like I said in the beginning, in theory, these worlds and the gameplay probably shouldn't mix well, but they do nicely. They did such a great job that I was even laughing at some points at the things some of the Rabbids were doing. They found a way of not making them super annoying, at least for me. Some of the things that Spawny was fusing together provided fun battles, interesting enemies, and great mid-bosses. But I think the biggest surprise from the first game were the Valkyries, who have guns on their titties. Even bunny titties are great. The enemy variety is great. They changed with the theme of the levels and kept getting trickier and trickier, which helps with the combat never getting stale. The boss battles were designed brilliantly, making you strategize and making me feel like they actually put some thought into it and provided fun and memorable battles, which is really all you can ask for. And also the final boss is a great way of making it feel different and special rather than same old same old. They had you going one way thinking they were going to do the same battle we've been having for the past 40 years, but they did something to switch it up. But I was pleasantly surprised of how much I enjoyed and how hard it was for me to put down the first Rabbids game. I just hope they were able to replicate what they did in this game in the second one that came 5 whole years later. But before we get into the second game, if you're still here hanging out with me, if you could do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much in advance. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope starts off in the Mushroom Kingdom. And of course, Peachy wasted no time in turning her rabbits into her workers. In this introductory tutorial level, we must find Rabbid Mario's overalls, and the game kind of shows us the ropes for the world gameplay. This time, it feels way more like you're actually controlling the character itself and over Beepo. Then all of a sudden, a spark crashes into Mario. These are rabbit-infused Lumas. A few more appear, and we find out that they're actually running away from this manta ray thingy that ended up splooging all over the castle. We hop on its back for a battle tutorial, which we murder because we built like that. We find out that there's this Cursa who has conquered the galaxy with darkness, and we must help get rid of it. Beepo created a new AI bot called Genie, and she's the one telling us all the tea. So we head on over to the first world to get rid of the dark mess. Now, quick differences. The superfan, whose name we actually find out is Cassidy Vale from the Donkey Kong DLC of the first game, she's gone, which kinda sucks. I was super curious about her. She kinda gave me like 90s animated kid movie protagonist vibes, and I really wanted to know a little bit more from her. Other absences are Rabbid Yorchi and Yorchi himself. What the Okay, yeah, cool. Just get rid of my favorite guy. That's fine. It's not like he's been loyal and by your side all these years, Mario. What the We do get 3 new additions to the team, though. This new bunny emo Final Fantasy lady named Edge, Rabbid Rosalina, and the big bad himself, Bowser. Which, okay, yeah, they're actually pretty cool. So at least they switched it up, giving you guys you weren't expecting. The thing is, I am a bit torn about the sequel, because it did change and solve issues from the first game. Like what I said about the canceling of moves. They solved it by letting you control the character in the free roam area that they're allowed to walk in. Yeah, cool. Thank you very much. It feels way more freeing. That's awesome. Also, Mario doesn't have to be the team leader the whole time anymore. You can control whoever you want in the world map. Another good one. That's cool, because it opens up another slot to put somebody else there in the mix. I don't have to be Mario the whole time. Here's another good one. They gave each character their own weapon. No weapons repeat anymore like they did in the first one. Also, very cool and creative. Mario, Luigi, and Peach have the same weapons from the first game. Rabbid Drag Queen Peach has a cool rocket launcher that can go over cover. Rabbid Luigi has a frisbee that can hit multiple guys at the same time. Rabbid Mario has these Hulk Buster fists. Rabbid Rosalina has rapid fire stars. Edge has a Final Fantasy cloud sword that she throws and takes out whatever's in her way. And Bowser has rockets that inflict damage to whatever else is near. So that's all cool. What isn't cool is that they took away the individual stats for the weapons, so that you don't purchase weapons anymore. Now you collect skins. They also took away the secondary weapon. Instead, you use the sparks that you're rescuing and saving along the way, which I get it. It makes total sense for the story, but it just takes away the shopping for new weapons aspect that I enjoyed in the first game. So instead, you equip the sparks, and they are what add effects and abilities to the characters. They are a ton of them, to be fair. They add vamp effects, they have fire, lightning, and water rain down for a big radius damage, add all kind of damage effects, some recover health over time. Some of my favorites were the ones where you summon enemies to fight with you, and there's one that even revives downed allies. So, once the enemies become more intricate later on and you have a bunch of sparks to play with, pre-battle plans are essential to see what you need to equip on who and what. What I did like is that you can upgrade these sparks by feeding them those Mario Galaxy gushers that you would collect. Here you get them awarded after battles and finding them throughout the world. The team jump healing is completely gone as well. Instead, it's a bit more control over it. Beeple helps you hover in the air, and some characters have abilities while hovering, like Mario can jump on Foos again for an extra jump. Rabbid Peach heals wherever she lands, and Bowser creates an explosion. And all these abilities can be upgraded with the prisms, and the upgrades are actually felt, which is a good thing. So like I said, the secondary weapon is gone. Instead, each character has an ability, like Hero Sight from the first game, counterattack, which hits enemy back after getting hit yourself, or healing, or providing a shield or boosts, stuff like that. Plus the 2 sparks you have to equip and your weapon, so there's a lot to mix and match during the battles. And on top of that, they added items. Because the sparks and the abilities operate in a cooldown system, there are items that erase the countdown completely. Some items cure effects, there's stuff to heal of course, give you the ability to move again, give you extra dashes, just a ton of fun stuff you can play with. There's a lot of strategy that comes into play. So yes, there were changes made for the better, but others for the worse in my opinion. I like the free roam way better over the stiffness of the blocks of the first game, but I also do think that they lacked in other things like the boss fights here. A lot of the boss fights were just enlarged regular enemies, and didn't really have the fun intricacies the first game had. There might have been a fight or two that have extra element other than just hit the big bad guy, but even the enemy variety was lacking. They would have the same enemies, just different color versions of it, offering different effects. It just doesn't feel like enough. Each enemy does have its own strength and weaknesses, but again, the lack of variety was kind of disappointing. And instead of having big, awesome boss fights, they would have weak point battles, where you must hit these black ice thingies with these seeds to get rid of the dark mist. Which I think I just prefer the regular boss fights. Have the dark mist take over a bad guy, or a friendly from the world that you're exploring and try to save them. Yeah, it's very simple, been there, done that stuff, but it just feels better than what they actually gave us here. They didn't even have bonus objectives during the fights for more rewards either. They took those out too. It's not all negative though, because I did like the world map part way better than the first. It's way more open, it's way less linear, and it's just way more stuff to explore. The worlds are kind of split into 2 sections. You arrive to a new world, you have the main quests that progress the story of course, Sparks quests which saves sparks and you add them to your roster, and side quests which get you level specific coins that you can spend at the shop for collectibles and weapon skins. Each level has a warden that is trying to deal with the darkness, which I like the idea of having these characters there, a presence, having someone in charge trying to deal with this shit. Well, so once you do a few main missions getting rid of the darkness, the world opens up even more. Also having sections you can't quite get to yet that need backtracking to 100% the level. Beepo gains abilities itself. It has a scanner that reveals hidden stuff, and also has this purple ray that can be used on certain things to reveal what's there, including cracks on walls, and it later gets upgraded to be able to put out bridges and stuff. So there's way more to the exploration in this game. In the shop, they also sell a key to a secret zone. It's a bonus level room where you must use your puzzle solving skills to get to the new spark and add them to your squad. Once you complete it, you can actually do the room again with a time limit to get a new weapon skin. I think I prefer the bonus challenges from the first game over this. It's not that they're hard or anything. You had something that worked and you felt the need to change it, and it wasn't necessarily for the better. That's probably the mantra for the whole game. Because if it sounds like there's a lot, it's because it kinda is, but you're smart, you'll get used to it. Plus there's a map keeping track of everything. There are also character-specific battles where you have to complete the battle with those chosen pair for that specific fight, which I found to be like a fun way to mix it up. Because there's so many characters, it's very easy for you just to stick to your mains. And I did find myself doing that early on, but towards the later half of the game, I was mixing and matching almost every single battle. I did not neglect any characters like I did in the first. I would actually check the battlefield and strategize to see who would be a better fit for that specific battle. And even then, I did find myself using every member of the team quite often. It is a bit much in the beginning to have 6 full members, only being able to use 2 of them at a time at first. So it does feel like too many choices to start, but I also like that they gave them to me instead of having me rescue them or find them, having me do something like that makes the game drag along in that regard. But I am curious, if you played any of the Mario plus Rabbids games, who did you main? I'd love to hear who you guys enjoyed playing as and why. I think my favorite was Luigi because of the sniper, giving me a longer range option. But let me know your favorites down in the comments. So because of how these games typically are, it does take a long time to do anything. There are only 5 different levels, but it can take you at least 4 hours to complete each one because of how much there is to it. I did 100% of the levels, so it took me around 40 hours to complete. Music is on point once again, feeling super epic and grandiose while still feeling like a fantastic Mario soundtrack. So even with all these changes that I wasn't a huge fan of, I still enjoyed the sequel because of what they did add. These new levels did the same as the first of feeling like Mario World, but at the same time as something new. Like I said in the first, they replicated that feeling in the second one. Graphics are as good as anything else on the Switch. I just simply really enjoyed these games. I got out of them way more than I expected to. Kingdom Battle sold 2 million copies while Sparks of Hope sold 3. So sales were actually increasing in the series. But Ubisoft sees it as it underperformed expectations, which may be the reason why we won't get a third game. But I see it as trending in the right direction. You did choose to have them be in a not so kid-friendly niche genre of video games. These games were more for the Nintendo adults than the kids. I don't see many kids actually playing this series, which may be the reason for the low sales. But you did prove me wrong. I thought this was a dumb crossover for a quick cash grab. But it turned out to be a really fun series and the most underrated Mario crossover of all time. I really like turn-based strategy games, Fire Emblem being on the top of that list for me. So if you're down with the TBS games, let me know of some hidden gems down in the comments that I could do for future videos. As much as I referenced it this video, I still can't believe I haven't played any of the XCOM's games. Would you like to see an XCOM game? Do you even like the Mario plus Rabbids series? Any and all thoughts, let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And remember to always and forever, you do you.
Go on!